Today was practice zero. Like it was, you get so many hours to use and you use it, and then tomorrow is the first official practice. So today was practice zero.
All right, well, let's start with this. What are you most looking forward to finding out about your team now that you can actually have them out here practicing before the season goes?
Just like once you start grinding, we get to spend, we try to do a little bit of a lot to try and put some things in place so that when you start practice, they kind of have an idea of a little bit about everything you want to do. And now we get to spend a chunk of time on certain things and, not have to worry, necessarily about a minute restriction thing. So if we allot 15 minutes to work on something and I don't like how it's going, I can just, reset the clock and we'll add another 10, 15 minutes. And because, you have 4 hours in a day that you could do it. Not that I want to get to that every day, but, just the ability to spend some time and work on some things, whether it's offensively, defensively, segments, different things, transition. So,
Do you plan on emphasizing anything different with your front court this season? You got some new personnel there?
I don't know if it's anything different. We have to be a better defensive rebounding team, and we can't turn the ball over as much. That's just the two things.
How was Shark Week?
Really good, really good. Learned a lot. They learned a lot. The guys, I thought, did a great job. Everything that I wanted to happen in it happened. Where they had to come together. They had some setbacks and had to overcome some things, and then they had to rally around each other and help each other, and so it was really good.
What's the next step for David Castillo, and how important can he be as a returning player?
Just his confidence has to continue to grow, and him not worry about making mistakes, moving on to the next thing. Physically, he's done a great job. Phil's done a great job with his body, and he's going to be able to impact defensively on the ball. And then it's just, having the confidence to make mistakes and play through it, and then get to the point where those don't become mistakes.
The roster now kind of has a Euro flavor to it. Can you just walk us through what led to you guys going down that path, and what you like about those guys?
A lot to like about all of them. We added 3 to, well, actually 4, but Steven is from Canada, and so he played junior college basketball last year. Moby's a returner. Elias, played, professionally in Germany for probably the last 3 or 4 years, just at a young age, being around grown men who it was their livelihood, and therefore their approach to the game was different than, the normal kid who grows up playing either high school basketball or even at another college, and so he's been used to being around pros and having different roles, whether it's being on the Euro Cup team or Euro League team where, he had a distinct role of being a ball mover, body mover, rebounder, defender, or playing on the team one level down, still professional, but being more, having to be more of a weapon offensively and having a bigger role on the offensive end, and he can adjust to either one. Andre is just a talent. At 18 years old, he's just really talented and played with grown men, and every level he's played at, he has a gift in how he can shoot the ball. And so, he, as gifted as he is, as talent-wise, still has to learn to grow and mature in his approach, but he's got a supreme confidence about himself, and that comes from playing at a real high level at a young age, and then watching other professionals prepare, and then Doreen, that young fella, he's just, I get more impressed with him every single day. When he tells you a story that he hadn't lived at home with his mom for 8 years, You know, for a very, very young age, he's been away from home and had to learn how to take care of himself and do his own laundry. And he tells me that he can make a great tiramisu. That's what he tells me. So we're going to get the ingredients and put them in the kitchen and figure that out. But man, like at 7'2", and bigs always, like, their best basketball is always ahead of them. You know, like, and for him, you know, to have played as much basketball and grown and learned and then be able to bring that to the equation, it's really impressive. And his toughness, you know, and just he's just a sponge, just soaking up everything. So it's fun to be around these guys. It's fun to talk to them. They have so many different life experiences that they can draw from, and they all have real great personalities.
And with PJ and Abdi, they're two of the top returning scorers in the country. What has impressed you about kind of what they've brought early through the summer?
Their approach, and I think I'm gonna say that about most of the guys, if not all of them. They have a very mature approach to the game. They show up early. They work hard. They come back late. They have a real professional approach. They know how to talk to people, you know, whether it's their teammates, whether they need encouragement at times or they need somebody to get on them at times. They take coaching well, and they both bring really great energy to practice. And particularly Abdi. Abdi's got a gift for leadership, and just love the energy that he brings.
What are your impressions of Nate Johnson to this point?
Nate's holding back on us. Like, he's a talent, man. Like, you don't win MVP of a league and defensive player of the league and not be a really good player on the same one. And sometimes he coasts when he should, like, dominate. Our goal as a staff is to be able to draw out of him where he, like, dominates, like, the whole time he's on the floor in practice. And such a nice young man, and he likes his teammates like him, that sometimes like, I need him to be mean and nasty on purpose. And so that's a growth that has to take place. But he's a joy to be around and a pleasure to coach.
What's it been like for you having Coach P and Coach Driscoll be a part of this?
Well, personally, and it's just been incredible. I love Coach Peterson, love Coach Driscoll, Matthew. Coach taught me how to be a college coach, you know, and him and Carrie, his wife, are my daughter's godparents. And so just, you know, having somebody around like that is just a blast. You know, he's, you know, just a lot of fun. And professionally, it's been awesome because there's just so much that you have to do. And he told me the other day, he says, man, you know, I've been a head coach. I know what being busy is, but you just have, like, so much that you have to do. And it's just, there's just so many things. And to know that you don't have to worry about certain things, or he sees certain things, or he knows how to get everybody else to see things that need to be seen. You know, it just helps you so much. And so, you know, I feel a weight lifted off. And just because, you know, I know things are going to get done, I don't have to worry about as many things. So the professional side of things has been awesome. Personal side of things, through the roof.
Coach, you got a lot of size, and among those guys, a lot of different body types, a lot of different builds. When it comes to versatility, how do you think you'll use all those different pieces this season?
And, you know, our staff did a great job of bringing talented, mature guys together, and now it's up to those guys to figure out which 8 guys are going to play, you know. And whichever 8 guys prove that they can be consistent and, you know, and provide the toughness and competitiveness that we need, and shot-making ability, those guys will then determine how we use them, you know. And so, yeah, I'm excited about finding that out, to answer the question of these next couple weeks here, and, you know, the grind of it, that which guys are going to separate themselves.
And then a follow-up, would you see see in Marcus, and what does he bring to this team?
Yeah, Marcus Johnson is a weapon, right? He's got a gift in how he can flick that thing, and but like, the difference between a weapon you can use at certain times and a player can do it all the time, and that's where we have to get him to grow, to turn from just being a weapon to being a player.
What do you see in PJ's game that you just want to see him improve upon? Just All-American, everything. Come in here thinking he's pretty good, but just what is it that you're thinking that he can improve on?
Well, there's another level to play other than this, and I think he wants to get there. And so, I mean, that's what he heard from all the NBA scouts. He want to play hard all the time, be a better on-the-ball defender. But I just, I need him to just be PJ, and his teammates love him, and our guys, they really like each other and they get along, but I don't need him to be liked every day in practice and stuff, so it's just that bringing that killer instinct that he's going to bring on game day to do it in practice, because it's going to make his teammates be better.
Schedule came out too, and you guys are going to Indiana, going to Creighton. What kind of went into those matches, playing them on the road? Is that just one of the challenge in being in that environment?
Yeah, we play in a league that has great road environments, and so might as well start preparing for it early. Both those Creighton's top 15 in the country probably preseason, and I think by the time we play Indiana, they'll probably be top 20 in the country also. And so every night in the Big 12, we're going to play a team with a number next to their name, so might as well get used to it.
Is there any adjustments you plan on making, maybe as a coach this year, from learning from the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think I've been pretty transparent with the fact that I wasn't the best version of myself last year, and part of that is because I felt like we were paying players and expected them to be professionals when they were still 18 to 23-year-olds. And so my approach, expectation without grace leads to disappointment and frustration. And I've spent a lot of last year with expectations, but I didn't apply the grace that needed to be applied. And so I was frustrated and disappointed a lot. And it reflected in how I taught the guys, how I cared for the guys, and just my response to certain things, and it stopped me from being the best version of myself. And so this year, I'm going to do a better job.
What's Coach Driscoll bring to practice? I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, great energy first. Second is that he knows why I brought him in here, and so he's very passionate about that area, particularly on the offensive end, and the attention to detail and the execution of what we want to do, and so he fights for it every day, and so and you need that. You need guys on your staff that are going to fight for their area, because it's important to him, because they know at the end of the day, and I'm going to turn around and look at him. And so he's told me multiple times since he's been there, when we're not scoring, don't look at me if we're not going to spend time on this, and so and that's been helpful.
You've known him for a while. Does he ever have calm moments? Or is that just his energy 24/7?
Well, if he sits still for any amount of time, he's going to fall asleep. So so he's not sitting still. He's always moving.
It is a new group of players this year, but for you and your staff, that 6-game winning streak in Big 12 play last year, what can you guys take from that streak?
Well, what I took from is that we had a good enough team to win games, and when we didn't win, then it wasn't the players, it was the staff, it was me. And so I had to be better. And if I was better, it would have had a better outcome. And so, yeah, it wasn't, our guys showed that they had the ability to play at a really high level, both at home and on the road. And we just didn't do a good job of getting it out of them. And I say we, but I really mean me, right? Because I was the one that wasn't the best version of myself. And if I'm not at my best, then it trickles down to everybody else. So, but I mean, I'm excited about this group, and really, really looking forward to seeing how good we can become, how quickly we can become at the level I think we're capable of playing at.
Is there a few candidates to be maybe the spark guy or the X factor for this team?
Like we got a couple dudes that are different. Moby's athleticism is different, right? Abdi's shot making ability, Andre's shot making ability is a little bit different. So Doreen's size is different. It's just so there's multiple guys that add something a little bit different. And then whenever you have a returning All-American that's had a ball in his hand, that's going to help you. So, I think it's a collection. Like our goal is to figure out how we can make the sum better than the individual parts by themselves, and that's I think that'll make the biggest difference.
CJ entered the portal and then came back. What can you just kind of walk us through what that process was like, and how you're feeling with him deciding to return and do it another year?
Yeah, no, I'm fired up about CJ being back, and I don't know what the details were on this side. Him and his family and people around him chose to put his name in the portal, and then at some point in time, he decided that maybe that wasn't the best decision for him, and worked through the staff, and they came to me, and I don't know that I wasn't fired up at first, and but thankfully you got a staff around you that's going to look you in the eyes and say, "Don't be an idiot. Let's examine this and let's look through it." And had some really good conversation with CJ, and and I told him, once I made the decision that was going to let him come back, then nothing that happened was going to affect what's going forward. And so and he's been great. He's been great, and so excited to have him. I think he's going to contribute to us winning this year. He started for us last year, and there's not very many 6'5" guys with a 6'7" wingspan that can play the point for you, and and so God blessed him with the measurables, and now he's got to continue to work and put in the time so that he can become the best player he's capable of being.
And then I think Kamari is the only new guy that we haven't asked you about yet. What impresses you about what he brings to the table?
I was telling the staff today, what the job he's done with his body. Like Phil has done an unbelievable job. Our goal this summer was to get quick, thick, and nasty in the weight room, and he's done at least 20 pounds of muscle, if not more. Just looked different out there, running into guys and stuff. Now he's got to learn how to move with that extra 20 pounds. If we gave somebody 20 pounds to move around with it, they might not move the same way at first, but his ability to finish around the rim, I think he's like close to 70%, if not higher, finishing at the rim, and a lefty. And so yeah, he does a good job. Really good teammate, and very mature in how he handles tough situations. And so happy about that.
What have you seen out of Xavier as the lone freshman from the high school ranks?
I think Xavier might be drinking out of a water hose right now. Fire hose is just coming a lot at him, but he is tough. He is fast, and Mark Vidal calls him his little pit bull, right? Like you just see, like he's oozing with potential, and he's not afraid, and those three things allow him to be a really good basketball player.
And how helpful is it to have a really deep guard room to kind of guide him along that growth path?
Yeah, I don't know about how much it helps Xavier, but it helps me. Like a lot of good guards really help you, and that, and, I'm excited about our group.
NIL was a bit of a distraction last year with Coleman and a few other things going on. Just with the change in that landscape now, and just how readily NIL and revenue sharing is, do you think that that's a problem anymore, or just what are your thoughts on that?
Wow. Well, unfortunately for Coleman, his NIL information got out there, and then people just, or some of it, or speculations of it, and like people harped on it. And today, that's probably like he'd probably be middle of the pack today, right? In some cases, and so it wouldn't been that big of a deal. And if it wasn't that big of a deal for him to carry that weight around, I mean, like, would he have possibly had a better season, or maybe a more enjoyable season, maybe, And so I think the country and the media and everybody's getting used to this, and the more we get used to it, you just think about Magic Johnson years ago when he signed for $1 million, a 20-year deal for $20 million, and everybody was like, whoa, like, oh. And now dudes are getting $50 million a year, and they're underpaying him. Like Micah Parsons, they wouldn't pay him in Dallas, and everybody's pissed how much he was asking for. And so once I think people get used to some things, they don't become as big of a deal, and so that's going to help the young people. I think the people around these young men and women are realizing how much of an impact that can have when that information gets out, or any of it, and so they're being more careful with that for them. And I know for me personally as a coach that it's having gone through it, I know that I have a different approach on how I handle those things, and so it's helping me.